We're going to be working with data sets. A data set is a group of numbers. It could be test scores. It could be basketball scores for a team. It could be, I don't know, anything. Measurements of depths of lakes or puddles or, I don't know. Well, it's just different ways of working with numbers. There's many different ways to describe a set of numbers. One, we can use range or mean or median or mode. Does anyone know? Let's start with mean. Anyone know what the mean of a set of numbers is? No? That is how you find the mean. You add them all together and divide by the number of them that there are. What's another word that you guys are probably familiar with that means mean? Average. Average. We have talked about the average test score, okay, in here. Let's say we got 17 students, and if I took all of 17 of your test scores and I added all 17 numbers together and then divided by 17, I would come up with a number. And that number I would come up with is the average test score, or the mean test score. The median. Anyone know what the median is? It's the one in the middle. So if I listed them smallest to largest, if I started with the lowest test score and ended with the highest test score, the test score that's in the exact middle is the median. You guys know what that yellow line down the middle of a road is called? It's called the median. It's in the middle. That's what it means. Mode. Now this one is maybe, I don't know, this one doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's the one that shows up the most often. It's the one that shows up most often. And there's one little trick to this, though, as far as mode goes. There's one little hitch. If no number shows up more often than any other ones, like if you only had one of every single number in the set, then there is no mode. Okay? So let's say we had 5 test scores and they were 78, 79, 83, 87, and 92. There is no mode because no one of those numbers shows up more often than another one. Make sense? Okay. And range, anyone know what range is? Yeah, it's just the biggest minus the smallest. How wide of a range is it? Biggest minus smallest. Okay, so you're going to be asked at times to find all of these things. Players on a volleyball team measured how high they could jump. The results in inches are recorded in the table. So these are, we got a volleyball team, they did a test, they all jumped as high as they could, and these are how high they could jump. 13 inches, 23 inches, 21 inches, 20 inches, 21, 24, and 18. I'd be closer to like 2. What about you, Wilbur? What's your vertical? Don't know? 5? All right. So, one way to describe this data set is to find the mean. The mean is the sum of all of the items divided by the number of items in the set. sometimes called the average. The mean of this set of data is the average height that the volleyball team could jump. So, we'll go to that. We're going to be asked, find the mean of each data set. How do I find the mean? What do I have to do? Add them up. So I'm going to write mean. The mean of this data set is all of these added up. So let's do it. We got 5 and 5 is 10, right? 8 and 2 is another 10, so that makes 20. And then we got 3 and 4, 7 plus 1 is 8. So we got 28 divided by, how many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 28 divided by 7 is what? 4. The mean is 4, but we need a label. It's 4 what? 4 inches. Okay. Median. How do you suppose we find the median? Please don't do that. It's the one in the middle. So what we have to do is we actually have to put them in order. The first thing we got to do is put them in order. So we got a 1, a 2, a 3. 1, 2, 3. We have a 4. We have 2 5s. And we have an 8. So we got them all. Okay? Then we got to find the one in the middle. Here's what I like to do. You start at the beginning, you cross that one off, you go to the end, cross that one off. Then you go to this one, this one, this one, this one. Once you've done that, you got the one in the middle. So my median is 4 inches. Now, is it always going to be the same as the mean? No. Not always. It's going to be sometimes. What about my mode? What is the mode? Remember, mode is, what is mode? The number, not necessarily shows up more than once. The number that shows up the most often. Okay? Which one shows up most often? 5. So my mode is 5. And what would my range be? Range is really easy to find. Smallest minus largest, 7. My range is 7 inches. Not too bad. Okay, you guys have whiteboards. Let's see what we can do here. What I want you to do is I want you guys all to let's first find the mean. Okay, like I said, the first step that you want to do is put them in order. Let's just put them in order. We got 1, 2, 2, right? 1, 2, 2. And we got a 5. And then we got a 6. And we got a 9. And then we have a 10. Right? Got them all? Now, so in order to find the mean, we got to add them up, right? 2 and 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 9 is 25, plus 10 is 35. So we got a total of 35. In order to find the mean, we got to divide by the number that there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Divided by 7, we end up with 5. So our mean is 5 inches. How do we find the median? Did you guys find the median yet? Let's find it. Put it on your whiteboard. The median. Remember, start crossing numbers off from the end to ends. So here's what you do in order to get this. You go this. Sometimes people get confused though. Be careful. If you start by crossing off on the end, on the smallest number, you got to have the same number of cross-offs on each side. Okay? Because if I ended up having only 2 cross-offs on the back side here and 3 on this side, you're not necessarily going to find your median. But in this case, your median is 5. And let's say your mode. Which one shows off the most often? 2. My range is largest minus smallest is 9. Now, I have one other thing that I need to show you guys. What happens if this is the case? Let's say that they didn't have, let's say they had one more number here. Let's say they had a 3. And then we do our mean, median, mode, and range, and we check all this, and we've got 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 10. And we start doing our cross-offs. Now be careful. Watch this. Start at the beginning. 10. That one, that one, that one, that one. Now if I cross this off, this 3 right here, okay, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cross-offs in the beginning and 1, 2, 3 cross-offs on the back. I couldn't have done that. I can't do that. So I have a problem here. I have 2 numbers that are left in the middle. What do I do when I'm left in the middle with 2 numbers, not just 1? I got to find what do I do? Add them and divide them by 2. We then find the mean of those 2 numbers. You find the mean or the average of those 2. And how do we find the average? Well, you add them together and you divide by the number of numbers that there are. So you take 5 plus 3, which is 8, and divide that by 2. You're going to end up with 4. So my median for this set. Okay. So be careful about that. Do not have too many cross-offs on. You have to have the same number of cross-offs on each side. We talked about the median, that's the one in the middle. Mode is the one that shows up most often. This is so important for you guys to understand. Look at this. When all values occur an equal number of times, the data set has no mode. That is your answer. It is no mode. I guarantee you what's going to happen is this. I will show you something. I guarantee you I will have some of you that are going to look at this and go, find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data set. And you're going to do this, and you can go, okay, well, the mean is whatever. Well, let's figure it out. 12 and plus 14 is what? 26 plus 11 is 37 plus 15 to 52 divided by 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4. What? 1 minus 4 is 1, 12, 3. So my mean is 13. My median, well, let's put them in order. We got 11, 12, 14, and 15. Well, my two numbers in the middle are 12 and 14. What's my median? 13. Yep, we got it. Remember, we cross. Now we have two numbers in the middle. I add these up and divide by 2. 12 plus 14 is 26. Divided by 2 is 13. What? I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Now mode, this is the mistake that's going to be made. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, I'm going to have students that are going to look at this and go, okay, they all occur the same number of times. My mode is 0 is a number. That's not the answer. 0 is not the answer. We said that when all numbers occur the same number of times, there is no mode. So this is the answer. No mode. Be careful about that. Do you understand that? Do not, and I repeat, do not write 0. We got an 11, we got a 12, we got a 14 and a 15, right? 11, 12, 14, 15. The average of those two is 13. Yes? If there are other numbers, that's a really good question. He asked me, well, what if there's two 12s and two 14s? What if we included, we got 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. What if we included a, oops, 4th grade had 12 and 3rd grade had 14. Now we have two numbers. So my mode would be this. You can have more than one mode. So you got two 12s and you have two 14s. And you also have two numbers that only show up once. Okay? Now, what if this happened? Let's say that this wasn't 11. Let's say this was 12 and this was 14. Now what is the mode? Now how many modes? Now what do we have for mode? Now it's no mode. Because the 12s show up the same number of times and the 14s show up the same number of times. You only have a mode if a number shows up more often than another number. I'll go back and show you what the rule said. Remember, when all values show up in equal number of times, it has no mode. Jack. You see what I'm saying? So that gets a little tricky. Now I know you guys can handle this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to... we're not going to do that. Your homework. I want you to do page 300, numbers 2 to 16 even. Page 300, 2 to 16 even. Now, listen carefully. Some of these you are going to have to find the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. So the first step that you want to take every time, putting the list, putting the numbers in order, putting the data set in order. And this is going to take more than 1 or 2 lines on your assignment notebook or in your notebook. Okay?